Hey there, I'm Tamara DeGaia. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Did you know that some of the oldest tarot decks feature a sun card with 2 children, not 1? And did you know there may be some good reasons to prefer that symbolism? Stay tuned for some fascinating sun card explorations. The sun. Well, immediately when I see the tarot sun card, the Beatles song starts playing in my head and I think of winter solstice and summer. The traditional Rider-Waite-Smith sun card shows a naked toddler holding a huge red banner astride a big horse with a wall, the sun, and sunflowers in the background. Around the child's head is a wreath of small sunflowers, and in his or her hair is a red feather. Did you know the Rider-Smith imagery looks similar to the oldest known Tarocchi deck, the Italian Visconti? Did you know the original decks hailing from France had 2 children and no horse? Wonderful tarot author Rachel Pollack offers some interesting food for thought about where those 2 children come from and why that imagery might be preferable for the tarot sun card. Do you remember the story of Rapunzel? Well, most of us can recall the refrain, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," and the image of a dashing young man climbing up Rapunzel's hair to be with his beloved. But there is much more to that story. Were they discovered by the sorceress who had locked Rapunzel in the doorless tower? Yes! And then what happened? Well, then the sorceress summarily tossed both of them out the tower window. When the prince landed, his eyes were scratched out by the thorn bushes, and he wandered around blind for years before finding his beloved again. When they found one another, Rapunzel held the prince's head in her lap and wept, and her tears of love regenerated his eyes. When the prince regained his sight, he saw 2 children, a boy and a girl. And those were the children that he and Rapunzel had conceived in the tower and she had born in the wilderness. And these are the children that are on the oldest tarot cards from France, the Marseille Tarot. Rachel Pollack's opinion is that the image of the 2 children, rather than just the single child on the horse, is more fitting for the sun card and the progression of the major arcana, because as she sees it, the journey through the major arcana is a progression from the innocent, unknowing oneness of the Fool to the awareness of duality that comes with the Magician and the High Priestess cards, to the eventual, for some, wise knowing oneness, which is the culminating major arcana card of the World. Now here's what Rachel Pollack says. She says, throughout the previous cards before the sun, we have seen images of separation of the masculine and feminine, light and dark. It starts with the male and female of the Magician and the High Priestess. In the Devil, the separation seems to reach its limit and become a chain of limitations. The tower blasts open and the waters of liberation pour forth in the Star. We need to make our way back to our daily lives, traveling through the shadow of the duality of the moon's towers and the dog and the wolf until we reach the sun of clear consciousness. Then why not the single joyous child? Because that image jumps ahead to judgment and the world. Here's how I, Rachel Pollack, sees it. In the sun, we see a boy and a girl holding hands. They symbolize the 2 principles that have stayed apart through the previous cards. In the Marseille sun, the 2 come together and we see young figures renewed. Then in Judgment, the 2 have matured and we see a baby between them. It stands with its back to us because it represents something new and unknown even to itself. Finally, in the World card, a single figure, often described as hermaphroditic, faces us as she dances in space. For the sun to show a baby riding forwards or towards us seems to me to confuse the symbolism. Now, I think it's interesting to consider, why did Waite and Smith choose to go with the Visconti imagery of the single child rather than the 2 children of the Marseille card? What do you think? If you were designing a tarot deck, what would your sun card look like? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to learn more, be sure to watch my other videos and check out my tarot classes and our Tarot Explorers Club, an ongoing virtual practice group on my website, tarottogether.com. And if you like this, please give a thumbs up below and hit the subscribe button. I hope this was helpful. May all your life be luminous.